Hi everybody, I'm Nettie K. Welcome back to my studio. Today I wanted to say a big special thank you to all of you who have been watching my show and subscribing to my channel, because this last week we ended up with over 3,000 subscribers and over 200,000 views. That's the total. And one of the other stats that was a bit amazing was that we've had over 1 million minutes watched on Nettie K Studio. I can hardly even imagine that, but it's true, so we must be doing something right. Yay! Anyway, thank you so much. I'm wearing this special love t-shirt just to show how much I love you, and also my son actually designed this shirt. I'm so excited. He's a graphic designer in McCall, Idaho, and he has a little company called idahoshirts.com, and you can go on there and find all kinds of stuff. And he'll design something for you if you want it too. He's doing a line of shirts and aprons and stuff for me for Nettie K Studio, and we'll have that ready for you in not too long from now. Won't that be fun? Okay, enough of that. We're going to be doing a wonderful still life today, and I have some flowers that the store brought in because it's still not spring here. Oh gosh. And we have a little pot. No, not that kind of pot. They only have that in Oregon and Colorado. We have a little pot that looks like that. Okay, that's the kind of pot I'm talking about. And a couple of pears for contrast. And I've got a little photo for you of my view of what this looks like. And we will get on with that in the oil on canvas. Okay, put my smock on, and I turned around and I took a look at my canvas where I had kind of laid out a little bit of the size of the pot, realized it was too big, and I did a little bit of correction before we get started. Now, what did I do? Well, I toned the canvas with some burnt sienna and some yellow ochre, thinned out with thinner, and I wiped it on with a rag, and then I kind of messed with it just to kind of play with the size of things and the placement of things. And that's a really good way to start. It didn't kind of work for this one, so I'm starting over. So what I did was I measured the pot, and I measured from the center of the pot, and I figured out how tall it was going to be and how wide it was going to be. And so what I did was I put a line down the middle, and then, and so that the pot's not crooked, I measured out to the side, you know, exactly how wide the pot was. So I put 2.5 inches here, 2.5 inches here, got it out to about 5 inches, and whatever the height is here, you know, your pot's going to be different than mine. So I think we were about 7 inches to the back loop here, and then I measured the width of the neck and did a few little things. So sometimes it helps to measure your items so that you get an accurate view of what they really are, okay? Sometimes we just cannot eyeball it too well. Not for a long time. I've been painting for years. Well, I did have a stroke last June, and so I think it has affected a little bit about my perspective, but I am getting better. So I just keep practicing and reconnecting those crazy neurons. All right, so now I've got a pretty good handle on the basic part of this thing. And so now I can come back in and wipe out the midline so I don't have to fight with that very much here. Okay. Now I want to put in a nice little pear in here, so I'm going to use some a little bit of medium so I can have some nice long strokes, and I'm going to put some white on my brush with some yellow. And I've got this pear coming over like that, and I'm double checking to see if that's the way my lines are going to go, and I want the pear to move in that direction, up and over. And then this one's heading down. And I don't want my pears to be heading, you know, in opposite directions, because I don't want them to be angry at each other. But I do want them not to be all lined up in a row either. So I've got, this is kind of a sphere that we're working with. Now, if you want to know how to do a sphere, go on to my lesson on how to do a sphere. That was an early one. And then I'm going to put that little pear. Pears are so fun because they just have you know, just this wonderful, easy shape to do, and you can move them around, and they've got a neat personality. Okay, now the next part I'm going to do is I'm going to taking a little bit of cadmium red. This one's a dark red, and I'm going to make, well, that makes it kind of a brown. I'm missing my cadmium orange. Where is it? Well, we'll find it. Anyway, I'm going to give this a little bit of a space between, and I'm going to stand up. You can barely see that. Let's try that with a little bit of purple to start with. I'm going to stand this one up right a little bit, and we'll overlap. Oh, it really comes down farther than I think. Okay, a little farther than I think. And I'm going to make it down to there, and it comes up, let's see, in relationship to the pot, it comes up to right about there. So let's get that going. And I'll put this little knot right there, and a little bit of a, there's that shape there, a little fat shape. Actually, it goes way out beyond the pot. You need to have the little cue cards that say pitcher over here. Don't forget, that's the word, pitcher. And then I'll put this one to where it kind of comes over like that. That's the basic shape of that pear. And so I know I can see this much. What I'm looking at right now is I'm trying to see the space around the pears and around, you know, so that's called the negative space, okay? The space around something is the negative space. So I'm going to just patch in a little bit of this yellow paint. I should be using a much larger brush. I wonder if I have one. That'd be nice. Okay, so now at this point I'm going to, turn it right side up. I'm going to just patch this whole thing in by just going back and forth and just, you know, filling it this direction. I'm just kind of piecing it together a little bit, giving it a base. And because this is oil paint and not acrylic, I don't have to worry about, you know, a lot of stuff drying on me before I'm ready for it. In fact, I can wipe that out if I feel like it. If I say, oh, I don't like the shape of that, well, I can just wipe it off, and, you know, I've got a lot of time to work with it, so it's not a big deal. Okay, so there's my shapes of my pears. Now I'd like to come in with a shadow color, and I think this time around I'm going to take a little bit of teal with a little bit of purple. Okay, and I'm going to put this in down here. This is the dark color, and I'm going to begin by putting in a little bit of a dark color underneath, and this will be kind of a shadow color. It's so hard for me to see the shadow right now because of the light in the room. You're much better off to have a very, you know, just one light that, or one source of light that you can just, and will give you that wonderful definition of what you're painting. So anyway, I'm just kind of patching in a bit of a shadow. And now I'm going to use a little bit more teal this time with the purple. A little bit more teal. And I'm going to come in behind here and put in, I don't know if I like that. I'm going to add a little bit more of the yellow to make it a little more the actual color of the pot. And now I can shape out my pear a little bit by using that darker color to just kind of fix that in a little bit. So I'm making that pear down here. I'm not worried too much about the design yet. The design comes after the structure is built. So what I want to think about is, you know, when I'm painting a dog, somebody says don't paint the fleas on the dog before you paint the dog. You paint the dog and then you paint the fleas on the dog. That's a better way of doing it. All right, so now I've got, I'm just kind of put in a little bit of a darker color. I think maybe a little bit more of this teal. There, that's kind of weird, but it works. A little teal. And a little bit of the yellow. And then it has some interesting red right here. It's a dark red. But there's a shadow on each side. So my light's coming from over here, my shadows are here, my shadow is here. And I'm going to keep this side of the pear really, really light, and this side of the vase really, really light. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to move up a little bit in the tonal value as we move around. And here's a little bit of that lighter color. And I'm now kind of thinking about the belly of that pear and moving it in that direction just for something to do. I'm going to go up one more level. And I'm going to come around. Whoa, that's really high. Sometimes you can reach a little bit too high, too fast, and you can really mess it up. But I think we're going to put that color in this direction, and I want that to hit right about there, and then right across here. So there we go. All right, where else do I see that? A little bit there. Okay, up and over. It's really going to set off of that nice dark area of the picture very, very fast, and that's really going to be great. Now notice I'm now putting in the strokes kind of going in the direction of the shape, not the outline, but the shape of the pear. So I can start at this edge and just go this direction. And so I'm not just filling it in at this stage. I'm now beginning to kind of illuminate it and shape out the mass of that pear by doing it this way. Okay, now before I get too far, I want to take some of that teal, and I'm going to mix a little bit of the yellow with the teal. Ooh, that's yummy. And I'm going to come in over the top of that. There it is. I may not do the vase exactly the color that it really is. It's a beautiful color, but I might choose something along this line because I like it better. You know what you do, everybody, is you might take nature and you might do exaggerate it. That's what I'm saying. Okay, so you want to enhance it. When you paint something, exaggerate what you see. Don't just paint what you see. Exaggerate it a little bit. It'll make it much more interesting. Okay. There's a little bit of that light yellow there. Isn't that yummy? I like that. And so now I'm kind of coming in and thinking about a little bit about what's happening on that base a little bit. And I want to come up here. I've got this on there, and I think that fits really well right there. So I'm just jumping around a little bit. You don't work it like an acrylic where you're working every minute, you know, every little inch going across so that it doesn't dry before you can get to it. Oh, I'm really liking this so far, aren't you? Yeah. Okay, so let's come back in here. I want to make a lime green, so I'm going to put a little more of that yellow in with that turquoise, and I'm going to add some white to it. That's closer to what it really is. Let's see what that does. Now let's see. I'm going to test it out. Put a little bit of our medium on. The medium that I'm using is Neo Megilp right now, which is a gel-like medium. I want to test that. Ooh, geez, that's beautiful. It's a chartreuse color. So how did I get that? It was a cobalt. Oh gosh, what is that? It's a cobalt teal with a yellow and some white. Okay, so that's what it is, colors. Now this thing comes out like this in a darker color. I'm going to grab a little bit of, that has a little more of just the teal in it. And I may even darken it with a little bit of a blue color. Let's just put a dark blue. This is actually, what is that? Ultramarine blue that I just put on there to darken the dark side of the pot right there. Okay. And moving my brush around in different angles so that it doesn't get boring. I want this to go into the dark zone a little bit down here too. So I'm going to darken that a little more with that ultramarine blue. I'm going to add a little bit of purple in there too. What? Yeah. Ooh, isn't that beautiful? Wow. I'm getting crazier in my old age. Yep. So there's a little purple. And I'm also thinking about the fact that these pears are in the yellow and orange, and so I'm moving into some blues and purples in the shadows right here. Here's a neat little kind of magenta color I just grabbed like that. Okay, this is coming along great. I'm really happy, very, very happy. I'm going to put that up in the shadow while I've got that on my brush. I don't know why, I'm just doing it. Okay, and then I'm going to come back in here. And I think we need to go back in our green-ish color right here. It's a bit bright. I know, guys, it's a little bit bright. You don't have to paint it that bright. I kind of like it. All right, now I'm going to add a little bit. When I add white to that color, it mutes it down. So let's mute it down just a little bit. it'll make it lighter, but it will also take the color down. The chroma will come down a bit, so it won't be quite so green, you know what I mean? So when you want to take the chroma down, you just add white to it. That's nice. Okay. A little bit more yellow. Got to pull it just a little back up just a little bit. And put that on that side of the pot. Let's go back into that feeling of chartreuse again, up at the top. Do the handle in that. There we go. Now what I'm hoping for this time, guys, is I'm really hoping not to over paint it. I have done that so many times with you. I've actually started paintings and think, oh my gosh, they're so beautiful, and then just keep painting them till they die, you know. Don't do that. If you can possibly have somebody in the room with you that says, stop right there, cool it, quit picking at it, and quit, you know, making it just go away. So I'm actually going to try a little bit of magenta right in here. Oh my goodness. Ooh, I'm so excited. That is so pretty. And it's going to go really nicely if I end up getting these flowers in at some point. So let's get back in here and put a little more of that super magenta down here. There we go. Now I'm going to do that. I'm going to actually put what I had on the brush, which was a little bit of the magenta, and it'll kind of kill the color just a bit to where it makes it look more like it should, like it belongs there. That's nice. Okay, and some of that green color is kind of reflecting down. The pears have got a bit of green to them in some areas, so I'll just put some of that that's in the pot behind, and I'll just kind of, you know, reflect that in a little bit. Crazy, isn't it? Yeah, it is kind of crazy. All right, I'm dipping into a little bit of my medium and a little bit of a muted yellow here. We'll see what happens if I put that right about there. Okay, that's nice. I like it. And then some of that right there. Doesn't look too muted. It really only depends on what the color is that you put next to it. Okay. One of the things that I want you to make sure that you notice, I want you really to notice that I'm not just mixing the paint strokes. I'm picking up some paint and I'm laying it down. Now I might mix a little bit to mute something down or brighten something up down on my palette. And we'll get a new camera someday when you guys keep watching all those commercials. And eventually we'll be able to get another camera. Or a smartphone. Wouldn't that be nice? I don't own one yet, you guys. I really need one. Okay, what I'm saying is that I'm not mixing the crap out of it. Pardon my French. Okay, I'm just picking the paint up. I'm picking it up with my brush. I'm not mixing. And I'm putting, now watch what I do. I'm going to set a stroke down. Wow, that's really bright. And I'm not just going over it and over it. I might set that down, go back down again, pick up another stroke of paint, and lay it right next to it. Okay? See, I can still keep going brighter and brighter. If I just mix over the top, even my children that I teach know better than to do that. Well, they do after a very short time. Don't mix, or you'll make mud. And it won't be beautiful. And even if it's really accurate, it's not going to be beautiful. You can be inaccurate and still be beautiful. Believe me, I know. I remember one time, you know, I'm a singer, and a long time ago I said, we were doing a sound check. Oh, they used to call me Emmy Lou. I have kind of one of those voices, and they said, sound check on 3, Emmy Lou. And I sang into the microphone, and I went, oh my gosh, I sound ordinary. And somebody said, they said, you will never be ordinary. There is no way that you'll ever be ordinary. And I think that was the thing that just scared me the most, is that, oh my gosh, I don't want to be ordinary. Let's be outrageous, whatever we are, okay? Yeah, I hope that's your thing too. Now, I want this yellow to really stand off. So how am I going to do that? I have a couple ways of doing that. I can put a contrasting color behind it. And so since it's yellow, I'm going to choose a contrasting color of the two complements. Okay, not complement, one complement. The yellow is a primary color. Red is a primary color. Blue is a primary color. And so since that's yellow, I'm going to take the two primary colors that are left over, red and blue, and I'm going to mix those together, and I get purple. And so I know that the thing that's going to make that zingy is purple behind, and I'm going to make a dark rendition of purple. I hope that makes sense. Purple is the complement to yellow, and so I want to put a little bit of that behind. I don't want it to look out, you know, totally obvious that I'm doing that. But I'm putting a little bit of that, and then I'll add a little bit of teal to it so that it matches in the pot. So it's a little purpley, so that that thing pops out forward a little bit. Okay guys, I love how this is starting, don't you? Oh my gosh, it's so loose, it's so juicy, and I don't want to be tempted to accidentally overpaint it at this stage. So I'm going to take a little bit of a break, and we will continue with part 2 the next time we meet. And so if you would like to know when that happens, don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you again next time. Thanks so much for watching. Bye-bye.